Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm talking about Mercury square Mars in Synastry. So I'm going to call this video Barking at Each Other because that is kind of what happens here with this aspect in Synastry. It can be very annoying, but it's not the worst kind of energy dynamic that we can have, but it can definitely be that there are some communication difficulties here. The Mercury person can find the Mars person to be very aggressive or even off putting sometimes. And they see the Mars person as kind of angry, impulsive, even sexual, sometimes, where the Mercury person is just trying to communicate. They're just trying to share their ideas, their thoughts, and the Mars person is just gets all fired up and reacts impulsively and attacks. And then sometimes what can happen too is the Mercury person, because the Mars person reacts like that, then the Mercury person can also attack because they feel almost even like violated at times by Mars's unwarranted, they feel like unwarranted aggression and attacking of them. Deep down, the Mars person doesn't realize why they're reacting like this to the Mercury person, but what's actually happening is that they feel very triggered or even threatened by the Mercury person's intelligence. They feel like the Mercury person, they can even feel a bit inadequate in the Mercury person's presence, like that the Mercury person is very cool and intelligent and calculating, and they get all impulsive and triggered, and they can feel, yeah, it can make them feel very inadequate or insecure being around the Mercury person, and that's why they react like that. But they don't realize this is going on because Mars, the first house, this is instinctual. So they don't realize why they're acting like this. They don't even realize they are acting like this, actually. But what you will notice with this aspect is that both people become very reactive. And there can actually be a lot of communication. So the barking at each other, like, we can end up talking more with this aspect and getting it all out there and talking about, even word vomiting. Like the Mercury person ends up sharing things they wouldn't usually share, or the Mars person ends up sharing things they wouldn't usually share. And then we think back and think, whoa, did I say that? So there actually is, even though it's a very aggressive atmosphere and it's an attacking kind of atmosphere, it actually does show at least that the lines of communication are quite open. So we are talking here. We aren't, as much shutting down and not wanting to talk with this aspect. The square aspect is more head on. We want to talk. We disagree with the other's approach maybe, but nonetheless we feel compelled to share and talk and communicate with them. So yeah, there does end up being a lot of communication and potentially a lot of intense communication because Mars Mercury in aspect, even in hard aspect like the square, it does kind of open up the barrier to kind of let some impulsive energy into the communication. So yeah, we can end up actually, sometimes we're going to feel like we have really great communication with this person because it has this very impulsive dynamic quality to it. It is, in a sense, kind of like a masculine communication where you're going to find each other. Sometimes you both talk at the same time, and then you don't stop talking, so you both keep talking at the same time. It's like there's no give and take, or there's a little bit of a struggle for give and take here. So you can end up with this aspect not feeling heard, even though you said everything, but the other person just wasn't listening because they were talking at the same time or they were thinking about what they were going to say next. So it can show that there's a struggle in communication, or there's a very masculine communication, very direct, very confrontational, very attacking communication. But you might not actually even realize that's happening. Like, it might take people seeing it from the outside and seeing, like, wow, like, why do you talk to each other like that? Why are you, like, attacking each other like that? Because for you, it's just, this is just how this person makes you feel. It's almost like a sibling kind of rivalry that we can have here with Mercury square Mars, where we're just like constantly trying to one up each other, not giving the other the airtime. It's, I'm talking now, listen, like, or we can end up coming across very, the Mars person especially can really come across like they're attacking, but in some cases, and with other good aspects going on in the Synastry, it can be more playful. It can be kind of a fun, little competitive vibe, little bit of poking fun at each other, and sarcasm, and like, it's like we both got our boxing gloves and we're just like, but with our words, right? And yeah, so it's definitely not, I don't think it's one of the worst aspects that you could have when you have it in combination with other Mercury aspects that are hard, like a Pluto Mercury, or a Saturn Mercury. Um, that's when this can get to be kind of hard. But just on its own, it's you, if you realize this is happening, you realize you have this aspect in Synastry, you can kind of like take a step back from it and realize what's going on. And the Mars person would maybe do well to like actually tone it down a bit and be a bit less aggressive and attacking with Mercury, because they might not realize they're doing that until they, watch this video or something, right? And, Mercury would do well to realize that just Mars doesn't mean to be that aggressive. Like, they're not trying to attack you or inhibit you or talk over you. They get really excited and impulsive, and you know what, you do make them feel a little bit threatened with your intelligence and your wit and your ability to communicate rationally and well. So yeah, that's my interpretation of this aspect. I'd love to know your experience of it. If you've had it in Synastry, what was it like? Let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for your requests, you guys. Keep them coming, and we'll talk soon.